Good morning, everybody. It's such an honor to be here today. I'm so excited that we are finally here and that we can talk about so many things that are so important to all of us. Before we continue, I would like to tell you a little bit more about Sylvia. Sylvia, that just spoke, has been very, very low-key about what she actually does and who she is. So Sylvia is a seasoned educational professional with over 20 years of experience in the field. She has held various roles including teacher, departmental head, deputy principal, and currently serves as a principal at a school. Sylvia is known for exceptional skills in presentations, training, and facilitation, as you can hear, a very seasoned talker as well, speaker. Sylvia's contributions to education have been widely recognized. She has her independent and dedicated nature combined with excellent communication skills and a passion for teacher development has made her a respected figure in the educational sector. So I just want to acknowledge Sylvia as well, that did our welcome speech. Good. Right, and who am I? I am an educational leader. I started also as a teacher, later a deputy principal, head of a school, and later executive head of private schools, and then also after that as well. My passion lies in education, my passion lies in leadership, and my passion lies in the power of potential. It is so fulfilling to see somebody find their potential and actually make something out of that, which they always wanted to do. There's always the fear of us succeeding rather than not succeeding. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's just a little bit about me, so that you know who I am. And then I would like to now just remind you that time is very important. We're going to stick to time very, very much. We're going to make sure that we do not waste any time. And for that reason, I would like to introduce Ms. Tinyiko Mohale. She's going to do our keynote address, and here's just a little bit more about, let me just get my paper quickly. Right, so this speech is going to be, or actually it's rather a talk, right? We don't really say speech. Is going to be about the innovative approaches in leadership in education. Tinyiko Mohale is an accomplished leader in the field of skills development, currently serving as the Managing Director of Skills Development at Altwest Group. With a robust career spanning multiple high-impact roles, she has established herself as a formidable force in the business development and stakeholder relations. Her career trajectory includes pivotal roles in operational management, stakeholder engagement, and executive leadership across various sectors and countries. Throughout her career, Tinyiko has managed and executed large-scale projects with remarkable success. Notably, during her tenure as Head of Operations for the British Council in South Africa, Namibia, and Mozambique, she was responsible for the delivery of over 15,000 UK exams across South Africa. Her leadership was instrumental in expanding the footprint of Regenesis Business School in South Africa, India, and Nigeria, where she managed critical stakeholder relationships. Tinyiko's innovative approach to business challenges has earned her recognition as a dynamic leader in the field of skills development. And with that, I would like to introduce Tinyiko to you, where she will be speaking to us about the innovative approaches of leadership in education. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. I will be speaking about the innovative approaches to leadership in education. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. Sometimes when people read my profile, I go like, is that me? But thank you very much. I've been in the education space for more than 25 years, both in the private sector and in the government. I'm speaking about the innovative approaches to leadership in education. One of the things that make me so passionate about the innovation in the education space is that I found that when you work both in private sectors and in the government, the module is the same. Whether in the government or in the private space, it's the same. It doesn't change. Leadership cuts across. It doesn't necessarily mean that when you're in the government or in the private sector, you change. So today what I did, I integrated both with my experience working in the government and my experience working in the private sector. I've worked in private institutions like your Regenesis Business School, heading the group stakeholder management. I worked for AAA School of Advertising as a CEO, and I've worked in education space as a deputy principal, and as an educator. So I've got both experiences. In the innovation as an educator and as a leader, you have to create a dynamic approach in what you do, and you need to be very creative. I know we do our degrees, we do our honorses, we do our MBAs, we do our doctorate. I'm doing my doctorate. Now, what I found is that with the theory, you got to implement what you're learning. You cannot separate the two. You need to breathe it. Jonathan Jensen, who is the, I think he's a counselor of OFS, is it OFS? He wrote a book, Education in My Blood, meaning when you are an educator, it's in your blood. Whether you're in a funeral, you still remain an educator. Have you noticed that? You find that you become a teacher in the community where you are. In church, they will always say mistress. They will always say she's a teacher, she's an educator, she will help us. So it becomes something that is in your blood. And then you have to be creative about it. So when you talk about the innovation, you're speaking about that which you have learned, and you become creative about it so that you impact your educators that you work with and impact the learners that you're leading on a day-to-day basis. Then we're speaking about the 21st century, right? Now, this is a concept that I love so much. As an individual, we are born with a physique. I am Tinyiko Mohale as a physical person. And we have, just focus on the inner circle there. We have our mental state. We also have our emotional state. And we have our spiritual state. That is a core of who you are as an individual. That concept is a spiral. When you look at this graph, at this spiral graph, you are the center of who you are as an educator and as a leader. Now, there are concepts that we know, which is your emotional intelligence. We talk about your IQ. We talk about your mental, which is your IQ. But then in the business space, in the business school, we have actually introduced what we call spiritual intelligence. We've also introduced what we call financial intelligence. And it all falls under you as an individual. We also introduced what we call network intelligence. Now, I'm gonna go deep into that. I only have how many minutes? Give me 40 minutes. So I'll be a bit quick because this is quite big. It might require us some other time to go through it as a workshop, Because when you talk about emotional intelligence, you're talking about how you're going to impact your surrounding or people that you work with, and you applying those things on a day-to-day basis. Now, as an individual, you therefore, if this area is capacitated, you then affect your team. There is no way you can lead effectively if this, as an individual, is not capacitated. I'll go deeper later. After this is capacitated, you impact your team in terms of your trust in your team, and you also impact the high performance of your team. You also look at the relationships that you build with your team. As that is completed, we then move to the institution, which is your school or your organization where you're working, and the vision and the objectives of that institution. Moving forward or up into the circle, into the external world, which is your competitors or the technology or whatever is affecting you as an individual. Now, this is very important. The graph of an integrated leadership model is very important, and I'm going to explain further. I've tried to explain this in a very short space of time, but that concept actually will take you 2 days to go through it, and I'm hoping that sometime they'll give me a chance to explain. Now, when you look at the systems of the individuals and team and institution strategy and external world, we're looking at the quantum thinking. We're looking at the strategies that affect the individual or the team organizational or environmental performance. This aligns with your educational or organizational strategy, systems and culture that increases the organization performance. And this is what is very important today in my speech, when I speak about your spiritual intelligence, your emotional intelligence, your IQ, your physical intelligence, your financial intelligence, and your network intelligence. Let me explain further what we mean about the financial intelligence. We're talking about your ability to navigate social structures for better career opportunities, actively managing financial scenarios involving budgeting, investing, and understanding markets which support economic stability and wealth. Now, you might think this is private, right? It's not only private. Think about it and implement it in your schools or in the area where you are. We talk about network intelligence. I always love explaining the network intelligence in this way. Network intelligence is your ability to see the opportunities as you are now. You sitting next to someone, you might not know that person, but your network intelligence will help you to navigate or align with that person. I always say in my business coaching that when you're sitting with a MC or the CEO of a company, or you're sitting with the minister next to you, your ability to negotiate or your ability to navigate your language or speak to that person at that level is your network intelligence. You might miss opportunity because your network intelligence is not fully capacitated. So network intelligence is a skill of building or leveraging relationships in social and professional context, aiding in communication and collaboration. How many people miss opportunities just because their network intelligence is not fully capacitated? You are so good in what you do, but you can't articulate it. You can't tell your IDC or whoever your CEO or your leaders or your educators, or you can't even explain yourself because your network intelligence is not well developed. So network intelligence is very good. Going back to that. So if your network intelligence is not good enough, it affects the other areas of your life. I hope I'm making sense. let's go back to my model. We speak about your spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is this involves understanding deeper meanings and values in life, fostering self-awareness, being compassionate, and the ability to navigate ethical dilemmas. Understanding people, religion, where they're coming from, not imposing yours to other people. That is very critical, because as women especially, sometimes we get too emotional about what we believe in, and it affects our subordinates or people that we work with. Emotional intelligence, this is very critical for women. I speak a lot about women in leadership. This refers to the ability to recognize and manage emotions in oneself. However you are provoked, you still manage to calm yourself. And the skill of self-regulation and showing empathy and social interaction, which enhance communications and relationship. This is very critical. I've seen most of the people failing to lead because their emotional intelligence is not good enough. Emotional intelligence also affects how you can pick up strength in other people. Your educators to say, I think this one can do this better. That's your emotional intelligence. And once that is strong, you're able to navigate better with your community or your society or your organization. Let's look at the physical intelligence. This relates to your body awareness or control, including skills of coordinating and agility, typically demonstrated by athletes. Now, you will think, what is she talking about? Physical intelligence, I'm a leader, I'm an educator, I'm a principal. Why is she even talking about physical intelligence? Are you aware that when you are not healthy enough or you're suffering from something, it affects your leadership style? That is physical intelligence. Very important to eat healthy, guys. Very important to walk in the morning or in the evening. Very important to take your vitamins. Do your IV drips. Do your B complex. Do something about your body. Because if you don't, I'm a marathon runner, right? If you don't look after your body, it affects how you think, how you relate to people. You're grumpy. In the morning, you're so grumpy because you ate up at night, you wake up with pump in the morning. You are heavy. So it does affect us. It's funny when you think about it, but looking after yourself, your physical intelligence impact other people. Have you seen how people that are so fit are bouncing in the morning? Hello! And you go like, where is she coming from so early in the morning? Because she just exercised. It activates something in her brains. So do that. Look after your body. Look after yourself. Don't allow yourself to go every time. Do something. Read books and see what is happening about your physical intelligence. Right. Here are the innovative approaches that promote positive change as a leader. Let's look at the collaborative leadership. This is the teamwork for educators, learners, parents, where you collaborate with who you're working with. You are not a standalone. You need to collaborate. You don't know everything. You need to know that people that you are working with, they are specializing in something that you don't. As much as they need you, you also need them. Distribute leadership, delegate, share roles with your stakeholders, SGP, whoever. Identify them, find their strength, enhance ownership in them, as well as your learners. Know what they are strong with. When I was working for Richfield Graduate Institution, I used to work a lot with my the student council, because those kids are smart. Those are future leaders. They will teach you technology, which I'm coming now. They will teach you the latest stuff that will enhance your leadership skill. So it's very important to distribute and to collaborate with people that you work with. Social emotional learning. Promote emotional intelligence, which I did speak about, through integrated programs that create supportive environment. Do run programs that are very relevant to what you're doing. Don't neglect upgrading yourself on a day-to-day. This course that you're sitting today is part of your emotional learning, social emotional learning. Technology enhancement. This talks about, there's one program that I'm busy with for robotics. This talks about your robotics. This talks about the technique, the fourth and fifth industrial revolution. It's coming to schools, aggressively so. Imagine, when I was studying, we were doing OBE. Where's OBE now? Gone. We were doing OBE, and if you're still gonna stay, Tinyiko was doing OBE, yeah, we know OBE, and that's it. It doesn't work like that. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, education evolves on a day-to-day basis. It's scary to see where we're going in terms of technology. Look at what COVID did. It moved us from face-to-face and we had to teach learners online. Even taking exams online, things that you think, will it ever happen? My son was studying, was at Woodlands International, and I have to monitor that he's not cheating and he's taking exams. The cameras in his room would scan his room to show that he's not cheating, and then he can take the test. Can you imagine? Things that I never thought. I mean, I grew up in Guyana. That was something else. So you need to understand that where we're going, there are those things, man, that's coming now. Those big goggles, where learners will look at it and they'll be able to view things. It's coming to classrooms. Are you ready? Are you ready for that? I hear yes, no? Who's ready? Let me see your hands. Who's not ready? Be honest. Technology enhance. Sorry?
We are trying.
Try. You can only try. Technology enhancement is very important. You are sitting with phones now. I always say we are more in phones like on TV these days. That's technology. We don't wait for the news to come on screen. We already know what's coming on the news because of technology. You go TikTok, you go Instagram, you go, everything is technology based. So educators, leaders, let's get ready. It's gonna get hectic. Agile leadership embraces adaptability to respond effectively to changes. Exactly what I'm talking about. Fostering a culture of continuous improvement. You need to be agile. Don't be stiff. I'm like, in my time, we were doing it like this. No longer in your time. We talk about the 2000s. We are the parents of the 2000s. Hectic kids. So we need to be agile and be flexible. Culturally responsive leadership, respect and celebrate diverse backgrounds to promote equality and inclusivity. Include everyone under your leadership. Don't favor them and it comes out. You are so transparent that you don't understand how it affects your people that you're leading. So you need to be responsive in terms of your cultural leadership, how you understand your environment. Globally, leadership perspective. Understand that you need to partner with international projects as well as cross-cultural exchange. When we were growing up, there was that, I don't know if it's still there, where we would take kids overseas and out of overseas, they would come this side, remember? That's, yes, exchange programs. That's where you're fostering those international perspective, global leadership perspective. So we still need to do that because they need to understand what's happening in our country and we also need to understand what's happening internationally. Very important. Get involved in those programs. Look for money, look for funding and do it. Don't wait for the government all the time to help you. Look for it. You need to be agile. You need to be that leader that will be able to look for funding on your own. There are a lot of NGOs that are doing it. Look for them. Seek help. We do that. You need to look for them and help your learners that are in your school and your educators and try to engage in those projects that will help you as an individual. I'm going back there. As an individual there, so that it affects the people that you work with. I'm about to finish. Where am I? Yeah. I think that the two last ones, yes. The innovative professional development, ongoing learning opportunities for educators through relevant and flexible resources. Exactly what I was talking about earlier. Design thinking. It's my favorite. Who can tell me what design thinking is as a leader? What is design thinking? What are we talking about when we say a leader must have a good design thinking capacity? Come on, my leaders. I think you do have answers, you're just not comfortable. Yes, ma'am.
Being creative?
Yes. Design thinking is being creative.
Collaborative?
Collaboration. Are you good students? Design thinking, someone speak to me? Adaptation. So now, everything that I was talking about, it goes back to design thinking. It goes back to you being creative and being able to solve problems with the methodologies that you have learned and focuses on empathy, collaboration. That's why I jumped when she said collaboration. Innovation, because remember I'm speaking about a leader that is innovative, particularly in education. The framework for integrating design thinking consists of several stages, which is empathize, gather insight from students or teachers and community members to understand their needs and challenges, and you create personas to guide understanding. You define what is in there, you identify and articulate core challenges that you have, and gather insight, forming clear problems. You cannot take what your neighbor's school is doing and you think it will always work for you. You need to be creative because your staff is not the same, or your people that you work with are not the same. The characters are not the same. You might have a very challenging character that you're working with, and your neighbor might not have it. And it requires you to think and be creative and say, I think I'm going to solve it this way. But to do it, you need to define it. What is the thing? What is it that I'm facing? My life coach always says to me, by the way, you need to have life coaches, right? Do you know that? Yes. Do you know you need to have life coaches to bounce your ideas to? and always get, life can be challenging. So you need life coaches. My life coach always say, you cannot solve something that you haven't defined. You need to define what the problem is, then you can solve it. That's design thinking. You are creative and you are able to solve it. And then you need to foster collaborative brainstorming sessions to generate diverse solutions and encourage input from other stakeholders. Phototype, develop simple low fidelity. I'm sorry, my time is up. I'm just gonna run through, but design thinking needs another day where we need to talk about it. You need to test your modules, you need to implement it, and you need to reflect and iterate. In conclusion, innovative approaches to leadership in education are vital for creating dynamic learning environments that cater to the diverse needs of students and communities. By embracing this principle, educational leaders can drive meaningful changes and prepare learners for successful future in the complex world. The education lies in our hands. Those learners that you have and those people that you have, you see them 20 years later, you go like, I contributed to that. And that requires you to be very innovative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tinyiko. That was absolutely so insightful. And what I loved about that was where you explained the individual, then we get the team, the institution, and then later on the world. So it's such a powerful imagery that you use there. And it shows us that it's so important for us to start with ourselves, make sure that self-care has been done. Because if we don't look after ourselves, if we don't feed our minds, if we don't feed our bodies properly, or like Tinyiko said, look at your financial intelligence, your spiritual, your networking intelligence. If that is not in place, we can't help anybody. Us sitting here needs to go out today and make a difference. And we can only do that if we look after ourselves first. So thank you so much for that wonderful talk. Ladies and a few gentlemen, we are going to have a little bit of a break. This break, I'm just going to check time, will be until 11. And we're calling it a networking break. And now that you've heard that we actually need to work on networking intelligence, this might be such a good opportunity for you to reach out and learn something from everybody around here. Remember, like Tinyiko said, you might know this, somebody might know that, and putting that together can create such a powerful and strong team. So, until